I think anytime you get told no, it hurts, right? Like you get your feelings hurt. And for me, I guess from the time I was little, I'd always been schooled like you just get up, you dust yourself off, you keep going. I've always been a resilient guy, and one where, when a no or a rejection or some failure or setback happens, which it still does, that I've always been pretty resilient, and I'm an optimist. So I always get my mind right. As you know, Michelle, I'm a kind of a guy, and I don't feel sorry for myself too long, and I don't allow for a pity party. It's just like, hey, it happens, move on. And one of the mantras I use all the time is next. So I'll say next, next, next. And it's just kind of a mindset trick to make sure you get your own mind right. I always say when something's going wrong personally or professionally, you're allowed an hour to feel sorry for yourself, and then get yourself up and you get back and you find what your why is, what's your purpose, what do you do, and why do you do it? And when you can be clear on your purpose in life, I think that fires up and stokes your soul, and then you just get back on track. There's so much garbage out there in the world and so much darkness, and it's easy to live in a place of hate, anger, fear. And we can't be in that mindset. We've got to live in one where there's more love and more compassion and more forgiveness and more light. Like all of these things are choices that we make about how we're going to live and what we do with our lifestyle. And honestly, it is the everyday best practices because, by the way, pretty much every day we're going to be faced with some form of adversity, some harder than others, some form of no. Sometimes it's your kid saying no, or your employer and your employee not wanting to do something exactly as you want it. But I think in life it's important that you keep your mind right, that you keep yourself focused ultimately on what you want to do and why you want to do it. And that keeps your spirit and your energy up, and that allows you to do the things that you want to do. When my father passed away, I was just 20 years old. He had a massive heart attack. I was in college at the time, and that devastated me. That was the most devastating loss of my life. My father was my best friend. He was my biggest cheerleader. He was someone that I can confide in. And at that time, I was battling for a starting quarterback position at William & Mary. And that was my dream, was to be a starting quarterback at my college. And it happened in the spring when you win your college job. And it couldn't have happened at a worse time. I mean, there's never a good time, obviously, but that absolutely devastated me, and it devastated my dream because I was out of school for 3 weeks, out of football for 3 weeks, and I ended up losing the starting job. I just wasn't even there, and my mind wasn't in it. And, I contemplated at that point taking the semester off from college, and I really did a lot of soul searching. And looking back now, and seeing the lessons my father taught me in 20 years, it makes me a better husband. It makes me a better father. It makes me a better leader, a better trainer, a better coach, a better author, better speaker. Because of that setback and having my dad in my life, and not that he chose that, but I realized for many months that devastated me, and that loss, it ended up helping to define who I am and where I'm going. My greatest setbacks were helping me create my deepest purpose. And for me, not that I wanted setbacks, I wanted failure, I wanted people to reject anything that I had, because again, I felt like I had something special inside of me. Looking back now, and even today, I realize it's not always going to go my way, but the resiliency that's been built up over time allows me to have the mindset to say, okay, how can I use this to forge ahead and actually allow it to help me create more impact in life? I'm a believer that anyone listening today, anyone listening later on, I think everyone has special gifts, but not everyone has the discipline or the ability or the opportunity to share the gifts at the level they want to, or at least they don't have the audacity to. So what I would really urge anyone to do is to do some soul searching and what gifts do you have, and then go out and share them. And then when you connect with other people that are going to lift you up instead of push you down, those are the people that you want to hang out with. Those are the people you want to continue to learn from and just surround yourself with. Don't think of yourself as someone like, well, I don't have the skill set to do that. It's like, if you have a dream, just set your intentions and go after them, and let someone else tell you no. Don't you say no. Don't make up the mind before someone else makes up the mind. Go after it. And if you get told no, then let it just stoke your fire. Let it just go up there and say, okay, I'm going to find out a way to create a yes and get a solution done. I mean, I spent 7 days a week with multiple jobs, just like trying to build my resume and do everything. And I loved it, but I also put a lot of pressure and stress on myself. And I think looking back now, and I'm a person that's huge into personal growth, I was trying to please a lot of people versus just trying to be happy for me on the inside. And I had built up this, like, I got to please other people all the time, and the eyeballs are on me and the spotlight might be on me. I've got to do that. For me, as I get wiser, it's more about how do you slow down enough to enjoy the moments? And what I found out is the more you slow down and enjoy the moments, then the more you can move forward, because you're not just busy in your head all the time with just kind of a bunch of chaos going on in your head. So that's a tough task. It's a tough skill to develop. But I think it's important is when you can be present in a conversation, when you can be present, with you right now, and just really kind of listen to yourself and that. When you're working out, can you listen to your breath? Can you listen, feel your body? Like, these are things that take time, and it takes meditation of like really being focused on your inside. Otherwise, you're just always constantly creating stress on yourself about what do you have to do tomorrow or the next day or the next month or the next week or next year. The more success you've had, the harder it is to really narrow your focus so that you can go deeper. Because as you get more success, you got to go more vertical. You got to limit some of the distractions that come up. That's a really important aspect in life, is narrow the focus when you can define your purpose and go deep. Because as a man of impact, it's like if you don't, then you're not maximizing your gifts.